Hello. So I realize that you guys always get me when I'm leaving work and I'm always in the same sweater and I'm always looking a little disheveled. Um, but it is a glorious day outside right now. Sun's like right in my eyeballs. But I was like, this is definitely the most beautiful day. And I just had to get out in it. And so I wanted to I'm gonna move over here. Sun seems to be following me. Um, I was thinking about the fact that I'm at a park, so that is why there are children screaming in the background if you're curious. Um, but I was thinking about the fact that again, another childhood thing. You guys are giving me free therapy here, but I was thinking about the fact that um, not ever feeling like I fit in anywhere. I've always felt like an outsider, even, and that's not trying to be like a victim, like poor me kind of a thing. It's just always how I felt. And even like if I'm in a crowd of people that even if I'm like surrounded by friends that I really love and I adore, it's not feeling like I have a home. It's just a matter of feeling like I've never actually felt like I fit in anywhere. And at first I was thinking about that and I was trying to figure out why that was something that comes up for me. And I realized as I've gone through my spiritual ascensions and as I've grown as a person and gotten to know myself on a deeper level, I've realized that the reason that I'm not supposed to fit in is because I don't want to say this in a way that sounds like, oh my God, I'm so amazing, but I ascend so quickly and I'm constantly moving spiritually. And so with that, there's a lot of endings that happen. And I feel if I was super connected and very rooted in a situation, it would be a lot harder to level up in those ways. It'd be a lot harder to leave people and places. And again, it's not a matter of not having connections that are substantial connections, because I have friends that mean a lot to me, but I also am able to realize that I'll give them space while they're growing and while they're ascending, and we're always kind of okay taking the space that we each need collectively. So if I need space to grow, then they give me that space, and if they need space to grow, then I give them that space. And so that's always yes, there's connections, and yes, there's familiarity, and there's having roots, but at the same time it's not a matter of being so deeply involved in something that you're not okay with walking away from it. And again, it's not a matter of wanting to leave people and not have those interconnections, because it is important to have people that you connect to, and it is important to understand your role that you play in the world, because even though we are spiritual beings, we are here in human bodies, and so we don't want to always be up in the clouds where we're not a part of daily life. And so I think I'm very balanced in that regard, but at the same time, I think that I also am very fluid in my energy, and I'm able to grow, and I'm able to move quickly. And I think that, like I said, feeling like, you know, I don't have like a true home. I mean, obviously your home is always like inside of you and you bring your home with you, but not feeling like I have like something that tethers me or weighs me down. I feel like it gives me the flexibility to be able to move around more often and to be able to grow and ascend, because sometimes when we ascend, we have to leave people behind, and it might just be for a moment, it might be for a lifetime, but you know, a lot of times when you grow and you change and you evolve, not everybody follows you, and not everybody wants to put in the work that it takes to do the same. And so some people decide to stay where they're at and where they're comfortable, and that's fine, and that's okay. But it's one of those things where, like, you know, understanding that the work that it takes and the sacrifice that it takes, because that's the other thing. There's a lot of sacrifice that's involved when you're ascending and when you're growing. And sometimes, you know, people forget about like that aspect of the spiritual world, that you are asked to give something up. You know, magic kind of asks for you to sacrifice something, and it doesn't have to be a bad thing, and it doesn't have to be a scary thing, or it doesn't have to be like, oh my gosh, you know, I have to give something up. But usually like your time or your, you know, something is being given in exchange for what you're getting. And so I think that all of that kind of like plays into how I grew up, and me knowing that I can flow easily, and that I can evolve, and that I can change, and that I can grow, and that I can expand, and knowing that like the container that I'm in right now is always changing, and being comfortable with that, and understanding that, you know, we don't always have to be stagnant, we don't always have to be stuck. And but I think that when I realized like those aspects of things, it made a lot more sense to me as to why my childhood brought me those, what I view now as like skills and assets. Because, you know, when I was younger and things didn't make as much sense to me, it felt like almost like a punishment. Like, why am I so different? Why am I so weird? But then when it all started coming like back, and I started understanding things a little bit better, the picture is a lot more clear, and so it makes a lot more sense. And I think that, you know, a lot of times like when we're in those struggles and we're in those moments where we don't see the big picture and we don't see the clarity of it, it's hard, right? I mean, even sometimes when we do see the clarity of it, it's hard because it's a lot of work that's involved. But I think that sometimes if we change that perspective and just look at things from a different way, it becomes a lot easier to understand the whys and things. And honestly, like, I'm pretty happy with who I am as a person now, and so anything that brought me to this point in time is something that was necessary to make me the person that I am. And so if you're struggling and you're having a hard time, please just, you know, ask yourself the deeper questions and really connect with your guides if you're drawn to, and just, you know, really figure out the things that make sense to you. Because once you figure those things out, everything else gets a lot easier. So anyways, bye.